Have you ever looked at a man and felt like something's different about the way he looks at you? Like there's an unspoken tension, a warmth in his eyes that he tries so hard to hide, but somehow you just feel it? That's not your imagination. When a man secretly falls for you, his behavior changes in ways he can't fully control. His words may stay guarded, but his energy that gives him away every time. And if you know what to look for, you can spot the signs long before he ever admits it. Welcome to Be Feminine, the channel where we dive deep into the psychology of attraction, love, and the mysterious dance between masculine and feminine energy. If you're ready to understand how men really behave when they're falling for someone, stay till the end, because once you see these signs, you'll never look at his actions the same way again. Now, let's begin with the first subtle but powerful sign: his eyes give him away. When a man secretly falls for you, his eyes start lingering longer than usual. It's not just casual eye contact. It's deeper, softer, and filled with curiosity. You'll notice how he keeps glancing at you, even in a group setting, as if he's subconsciously drawn to you. Sometimes he quickly looks away when you catch him, pretending to be disinterested, but his pupils dilate slightly, his expression softens, and his entire face lights up the moment you smile. Psychologists call this micro-expression emotional mirroring, where someone unconsciously reflects your mood because they're emotionally connected. Then there's the protective instinct, a primal behavior that men can't fake. He'll subtly position himself closer to you in public, guide you through a crowd with his hand on your back, or check if you've eaten, gotten home safely, or need help with something small. To him, these gestures may feel ordinary, but they're not. It's his natural way of expressing care without confessing his feelings outright. A man in love often finds peace in doing things for the woman he secretly adores. And here's something even more telling: his voice changes around you. Have you ever noticed how his tone gets softer, deeper, or slower when he talks to you compared to others? That's because his nervous system reacts differently around someone he's emotionally invested in. His body produces oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and it subtly affects the rhythm of his speech and even his breathing. It's like he's unconsciously trying to synchronize his energy with yours. But perhaps the most undeniable sign is his attentiveness. When a man secretly falls for you, every small detail about you becomes fascinating. He remembers the color of your dress from last week, the song you said you liked, or how you take your coffee. You might think he's just being polite, but trust me, men don't store details about just anyone. He does it because he wants to understand you. Every little thing you say becomes a clue for him to know how to connect deeper. And yet, even with all these hints, he may still act like nothing's happening, keeping things casual, teasing, or even pulling back at times. But underneath that calm surface, his mind is constantly occupied by you. He's analyzing every word, every glance, every small moment you share, because for him, these moments matter more than he can admit. When a man secretly falls for you, his heart starts speaking a language his words can't. And if you listen carefully, you'll notice it's not about what he says. It's about how he shows up when you're around. Once you start noticing the subtle signs, something magical happens. You begin to see the truth behind his every gesture. It's not always dramatic or loud. In fact, most of the time it's quiet. It's in the way he acts around you when he thinks you're not paying attention. One of the most revealing signs is how he becomes a little nervous, almost shy in your presence, even if he's confident with everyone else. You'll notice him adjusting his shirt, fixing his hair, or fidgeting slightly. Maybe he stumbles over his words or laughs at himself for no reason. That's not awkwardness, that's attraction. It's his body's way of responding to emotional excitement. His heart rate increases, his hands get warm, And suddenly, even a simple hi feels like a big moment. What's interesting is that when a man secretly likes you, his behavior oscillates between confidence and hesitation. One moment he's teasing you playfully or making jokes to make you laugh. The next, he's quiet, observant, studying your face like he's memorizing every expression. This push and pull isn't manipulation, it's confusion. He's trying to manage feelings he can't easily express. And then comes the jealousy test. Even if he hides it well, you'll sense it. When you mention another guy even casually, something flickers across his expression. Maybe he changes the subject, cracks a joke, or goes unusually quiet. His body language gives him away. Psychologically, this reaction stems from the fear of emotional loss. The idea that someone else could have your attention unsettles him deeply, even if he has no claim over you. But here's the most heart-melting part. He remembers things that matter to you. When a man secretly falls for you, he's tuned into your emotional world. If you said you had a rough day, he'll ask how you're doing later. If you mentioned your favorite dessert weeks ago, he'll surprise you with it someday casually, as if it's no big deal. But it is a big deal, because that's his love language, quiet care. He may not say, "I like you," but everything he does whispers it. Another fascinating psychological clue: he mirrors your energy. You cross your legs, he does the same. You start talking softer, his tone adjusts too. This isn't coincidence, it's emotional alignment. When people are attracted, their subconscious minds synchronize body language to create harmony. It's nature's way of saying, "We're in tune." You'll also notice that he makes excuses to be around you. Suddenly, he's showing up where you are, finding reasons to talk to you, or extending conversations even when they've already ended. He might pretend it's accidental, but it rarely is. Men often fear rejection, so instead of confessing their feelings directly, they use proximity as a silent bridge. Being around you gives them emotional comfort, even if they can't express why. And yet, with all these gestures, he might still act like nothing's going on, staying composed, friendly, even distant at times. But deep down, he's battling a storm of emotions. He replays your conversations in his head, wonders if you think of him too, and overanalyzes every moment you share. When a man secretly falls for you, his silence is often louder than his words. Because love, especially when it's unspoken, always finds its way through actions. You just have to watch closely enough to hear it. Now, here's where things start to get even more interesting, because when a man falls for you deeply but secretly, his emotions begin to shift from simple attraction to emotional attachment. And that's when his behavior changes in ways that are far more intimate, even if he doesn't realize it himself. One of the clearest signs is that he starts opening up to you emotionally. You might notice that he begins sharing things he doesn't usually tell anyone: his dreams, his fears, maybe even stories from his past that shaped who he is. This kind of vulnerability doesn't come easily for most men. It means he feels safe with you, seen by you, and deeply connected to you in a way that goes beyond casual interest. When a man lets you into his inner world, it's not random, it's trust, disguised as conversation. Another sign? He becomes genuinely curious about your life, not just your hobbies or favorite color, but your emotions, your goals, your struggles. He'll ask how your day was, not out of politeness, but because he actually wants to know. He listens intently, remembers details, and responds in ways that show he's emotionally invested. This curiosity is one of the purest forms of love, the desire to truly understand someone. But here's something many people miss. When a man secretly loves you, he'll often support you quietly. He may not always be the loud cheerleader, but you'll notice he encourages you in subtle ways, pushing you to go after your goals, reminding you of your worth, and believing in you, even when you doubt yourself. That's the kind of care that doesn't ask for attention. It's sincere, selfless, and deeply rooted in admiration. At the same time, he'll begin to protect your emotions. If someone says something rude to you, you'll see his expression tighten. If you're upset, he'll go out of his way to lighten your mood. He starts noticing the small shifts in your energy when you're tired, quiet, or hurt, even when you say you're fine. This emotional awareness is one of the strongest indicators that a man has fallen for you, because it shows his heart is tuned to yours. You'll also notice he starts changing little habits around you sometimes without realizing it. Maybe he stands a bit taller when you walk by, speaks with more care, or dresses better when he knows he'll see you. Men naturally want to impress the woman who's captured their heart. It's instinctive, not for attention, but to feel worthy of her presence. But here's the catch: he might not say a single word about his feelings. Why? Because love makes people vulnerable, and for men, that vulnerability often feels risky. They fear rejection, or worse, losing the friendship or respect they already have with you. So instead, they channel those emotions into actions. Every thoughtful message, every moment of kindness, every protective glance, it's all his silent confession. And sometimes, that silence speaks louder than anything else. Because when a man is secretly in love, he doesn't need to announce it to the world. He just needs to be there consistently, quietly, and sincerely. It's not always about the grand gestures. Sometimes it's about the way he looks at you when you're not watching, the way he listens when you talk, the way he remembers what others forget. That's what love looks like before it's spoken. As his feelings grow stronger, the man who once tried to play it cool begins to lose that calm, collected front around you. Love has a way of making even the most composed man a little unpredictable, not in a bad way, but in a deeply human one. You'll start noticing subtle signs that his emotions are slipping through the cracks of his self-control. One of those signs is that he gets emotionally affected by your moods. If you're upset, he feels uneasy. If you're distant, he becomes quieter, almost withdrawn. Your energy influences his. It's as though he's subconsciously syncing his emotions with yours, because when a man is in love, your happiness starts to matter more than his own. He may never say it, but his behavior gives it away. He's happiest when you are. You'll also notice he begins to respect your boundaries deeply. Even if he's dying to be closer, he won't push. When a man truly falls for a woman, he values her comfort above his desires. He waits, he observes, and he earns your trust with patience. It's not weakness, it's emotional maturity. He understands that real connection isn't forced, it's built slowly, with care and respect. Another revealing sign is his subtle protectiveness, not the controlling kind, but the gentle, instinctive kind. You might notice how he walks on the outer side of the sidewalk, how he offers you his jacket when it's cold, or how his eyes naturally scan the room when you're together, making sure you're okay without ever making it obvious. It's not about dominance, it's about devotion. Then comes something even more powerful: his admiration for you deepens. When a man secretly falls for you, he doesn't just find you attractive, he's genuinely impressed by who you are. He notices your strength, your softness, your intelligence, and your grace. He might compliment you in unexpected ways, not just on how you look, but on how you handle life. To him, your laughter is his favorite sound, and your confidence is the most magnetic thing he's ever seen. Sometimes, he might even act distant for short periods, not because he's lost interest, but because he's overwhelmed by how deeply he feels. Falling for someone can be scary for a man who's not used to being vulnerable. He'll pull back, try to distract himself, maybe even convince himself that it's just a phase. But then, something simple, your voice, your smile, a memory pulls him right back in. Because real emotional connection isn't something you can switch off. You might also notice that he becomes extra patient with you. Even if you frustrate him, he never lashes out. Even if you ignore him, he doesn't retaliate. Why? Because he's not after control, he's after closeness. He wants to be part of your life, even if it means waiting in silence sometimes. And here's the most tender truth. When a man secretly falls for you, you'll feel it in the way he looks at you. That gaze isn't about possession. It's about peace. It's the look of someone who's found something rare, something that makes his world feel softer, warmer, and more meaningful. He may never say it out loud, but his eyes will. At this stage, his feelings for you are no longer something he can neatly tuck away. They begin to shape how he thinks, how he behaves, and even how he plans his days. When a man secretly falls for you, his love becomes quiet, not loud or dramatic, but steady, consistent, and deeply emotional. You'll start to notice that his world, little by little, begins to revolve around you. One of the biggest giveaways is that he starts prioritizing you without realizing it. Suddenly, you're not just another person in his life, you're the person he considers before making decisions. He'll rearrange his schedule just to spend a few minutes with you. He'll go out of his way to make your day easier, to see you smile, to be the reason you feel cared for. That's the kind of effort no man gives lightly. It comes from genuine affection. You'll also feel his emotional consistency. Even when he's busy, he'll check in. Even when things are tough, he'll stay kind. That emotional steadiness is how a man silently says, "You matter to me." When a man's feelings run deep, he doesn't disappear when things get complicated. He becomes your calm in the chaos. Another subtle but powerful sign is how he sees your flaws differently. To him, your imperfections aren't turn-offs. They're endearing. Maybe you ramble when you're nervous, or maybe you get moody sometimes, but instead of being bothered, he finds it human. When a man's in love, he doesn't look for perfection. He looks for connection. And that's when you realize love isn't about someone liking you for your best parts. It's about them choosing you despite your worst. You might also notice he starts planning a future around you, not necessarily talking about marriage or big commitments right away, but in small, meaningful ways. He'll say things like, "We should go there sometime," or "You'd love this place." He includes you in his thoughts of tomorrow because in his heart, you've already become part of it. That's the quiet way men reveal long-term interest, not through grand promises, but through everyday inclusions. And the most beautiful part? He doesn't need to say, "I love you," for you to know. You'll feel it in his patience, his attentiveness, and the way he looks at you like he's memorizing every second. You'll feel it in his silence, in the spaces between words where his heart speaks louder than his voice ever could. But here's what's truly powerful. When you recognize this kind of love, it changes how you see connection itself. You realize that sometimes the purest kind of affection isn't declared, it's demonstrated. It's not about how often he says he cares. It's about how he shows it again and again, even when he doesn't have to. So, if you notice a man who quietly protects you, listens to you, remembers the smallest details, and shows up in ways that feel too genuine to be coincidence, trust that energy. Because that's not random interest. That's someone who's fallen deeply, silently, and sincerely for you. And if this video helped you understand men a little better, remember, attraction may begin with chemistry, but love grows in the moments that feel safe, kind, and real. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Be Feminine, where we explore the psychology of love, attraction, and the beautiful depth of feminine energy. Comment below if you've ever experienced someone showing these signs. I'd love to hear your story. And as always, stay soft, stay confident, and stay feminine.